everybody, so new review for you guys today. We're talking about the upcoming film in the Conjuring Universe, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. We've had our fair share of new installments in the Conjuring Universe since The Conjuring 2 back in 2016, but personally, I'm always a lot more excited for these Conjuring films when they're revolved around the Warrens and the cases that they go on. So I was really excited that we finally got a third installment in The Conjuring to actually revolve around them in a new case. This film centers around the famed The Devil Made Me Do It case, as Ed and Lorraine assist in a court case that's wrapped around a young boy who claims demonic possession as a defense as a murder suspect. I will admit I was a little bit concerned going into this film because James Wan is not directing this time. In his place is Michael Chavez, who also directed The Curse of La Llorona in the Conjuring universe. And while the film is a big change of pace, especially when you compare it to the Conjuring films that Wan has directed, I think that it's actually kind of fresh when it comes to its execution. It's an interesting approach to use this installment as a way to move us away from the format that we're used to, the old haunted house style, and move us more into an investigation type storyline. But I think for the most part it does work out quite well. Mystery within the investigation storyline is compelling enough to keep your interest, especially as it's not a case of just one singular possession, and that element adds on to the tension of the story, as they don't really have a lot of time to deal with this case, so that kind of raises the stakes a bit as the story progresses as well. So that's a nice little added tension for the dramatic portions. As per usual, when it comes to the films that are centered around these two, Ed and Lorraine Warren are one of the big bright spots when it comes to this film as well. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are just fantastic in these roles, so I'm always invested in following them on all these different cases. I felt like we knew the Warrens pretty well between these three installments and their appearance in Annabelle Comes Home, but I did appreciate the personal exploration of them as a couple, as I think it added some really great layers and nuance to the story, especially for Lorraine Warren, because I think that she steps up a whole lot more in this installment compared to the previous two Conjurings. Supporting cast I thought was very solid as well. I think the big standout from all the supporting cast is Julian Hillard. I mean, I just love that kid so much. I mean, he's in so many things that I enjoy. Of course, he was Billy Maximoff in WandaVision. He was also in The Haunting of Hill House. That kid is just a delight to watch, even while he's being scared. Of course, one of the main things you look forward to when you check out one of these films in the Conjuring universe is the scare aspect. It's pretty tough to follow up someone like James Wan, who's a master of horror, but I think that Michael Chavez did a decent job filling in for the third installment. It feels like he's taken notes since The Curse of La Llorona, because I think he's a bit more effective now at delivering scares, as there is a bit more variety of the scares in this as opposed to La Llorona, which kind of relied a lot more on the jump scare aspect. It seems like he was given a little bit more creative freedom in The Conjuring 3 compared to The Curse of La Llorona, as I think he does a really good job building atmosphere and suspense in different ways to get under your skin. There are a few memorable scares throughout the film's runtime. One of the strongest is actually the opening of the film itself. Then there's another one involving a morgue sequence. I thought that one was really great. The climax of the film, I was kind of on the edge of my seat anyway when it comes to the scares, so I thought they were really effective. Even when there isn't something necessarily popping out at you and trying to scare you, there's always this sense of uneasiness throughout long stretches of the film, which I really liked because it just got under my skin even more. I also love the homages to other classic horror films, like one in particular that's very obvious, you see it in the trailer, is The Exorcist. As far as criticisms go, I do think the script itself for the film is quite bloated. For that, I do think is due to the fact that we are moving away from that haunted house format and doing more investigative work. But in doing that, we kind of move into a different subsect of horror genres when it comes to this satanic stuff. It definitely wasn't as interesting as those first two Conjuring films, where I was hooked from start to finish watching those first two Conjuring films. And this time around, I would say that the first half or so is a bit more interesting than the latter. I also think that this film is a bit less grounded than those first two Conjuring films, which I kind of expected. We are 8 films into the Conjuring universe now, and we've seen a lot of ridiculous stuff going on, but they definitely play into that a lot more in this one compared to the first two Conjurings. But yeah, I had some solid fun with The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. It's not a great horror film by any means, but I think it added some really fun, fresh new layers to the franchise, and it's a really great trilogy if you're just looking at the first 3 Conjurings as a whole. It'll be interesting to see where we go next when it comes to the Conjuring universe. There's a lot of different stories you can spin, whether it be more stuff with the Warrens or some of the other spin-offs, because I know that we got like a non-sequel in development and a Crooked Man film coming eventually. I mean, it feels like it's been in development hell for a while. The film will be in theaters and on HBO Max June 4th. I actually recommend checking this out in theaters as opposed to at home, just so you can get the full immersion of the fun, scary atmosphere. But maybe for a second viewing, definitely check it out on HBO Max, just because it's the option. I'm honestly not sure yet where I would rank this among all of the other films in the Conjuring universe, because there's so many films at this point. I'm thinking about doing an actual ranking of the Conjuring universe, because I haven't done one since The Nun came out, I think, and there's been a lot of films between now and then. So that'll be fun to actually rank them again, because it's been a while. Now that you've heard my thoughts on The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, make sure you share your thoughts down below. I'd love to know your thoughts about the film, whether you liked it or disliked it, and just your general thoughts about where you would probably rank it among the other films in the Conjuring universe, because I think I am going to actually do a ranking, but I'm not committed to it just yet because I'm kind of short on time this week. But as per usual, thank you as always checking out reviews, though I really do appreciate it. Make sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and we'll keep review show actions, unboxings, and more on the channel. But next time, I'll see you guys later.